Welcome on the next episode of Creators Corner. My name is James Dale, and we are here with the owner of Likkle Party Shop in Windsor, Connecticut. How you doing today?
I'm good, Dale. James, the man with two
first name. Everything in the Caribbean, say two first names. But can I
two last name.
When they're on with people, then they put down their stamp, but we have to reverse it. No, we're good.
Yes.
Right? So, where do you hail from?
I was actually born in Trinidad, and my mom moved to Jamaica when I was 3.
Okay.
So I was born in Trinidad but raised in Jamaica.
So
when we first moved, I lived in St. Elizabeth,
okay,
and then St. Catherine, and then Clarendon,
okay,
and then St. Catherine again, and then St. Andrew, and then Kingston, and now my mom is in Mandeville.
Oh, so you're
Jamaican.
You're Jamaican.
Yeah,
you're
almost.
You shouldn't even mention Trini. You just say you're Jamaican.
The long answer is born in Trinidad, raised in Jamaica, but the short answer is Jamaican.
Okay, so Jamaica is what bread, all of this,
yeah,
with your cooking, your passion for cooking?
Yeah. I mean, Trinidad too, in terms of, like, we used to go for summer holidays, so just food on a whole is my love language. And so getting to explore different cultures' foods, even though most of the things I do is through a Jamaican lens because that's how I was raised, I love world food.
Okay, okay. So are your parents Jamaican or?
My mother's from Trinidad,
okay, and
my father is actually born in St. Kitts.
Okay.
And my stepfather is Jamaican.
So how did the whole Jamaican thing come in from your stepfather?
No, I always loved cooking, and grew up watching Grace Kitchens. And so when I was little, I would just be in the kitchen making my little cabbage and corned beef, and I would talk to the audience, like how I did on Creative Kitchens, and just talk, and then you present a dish and that kind of thing. So like I always had a love for baking and cooking. I started baking, and my focus actually was pastry. Okay. And so getting into pastry brought me, to Canada and then here. And I actually started a blog about ackee, making a bag of different things with ackee, from ackee ice cream, ackee cheesecake, ackee popsicle, all kinds of stuff with ackee. And I was here in Connecticut, and people were asking whether I did pop popsicle, I had a food truck, that kind of thing, which I didn't. But I always wanted to work for myself. And so I saw it as an opportunity to, jump out and try. And so I started with the ackee patty, which was a recipe I had on my blog, because if ackee was going to be unfamiliar to most people from North America, at least every culture, again, we talk about that world food thing, every culture has a pastry, something inside of it. For Indians, samosa, Asians, dumpling, Italian people have calzones, Polish have pierogies, Latinos have empanadas. Everybody have dough on the outside and something on the inside. And so even if ackee was going to be unfamiliar to people, the format that it was presented in is familiar. And then, one thing led to the next, kind of look around the Hartford area and you realize there wasn't that much in the way of vegan Caribbean food. Almost zero, yes. And anytime people think about Jamaican food in particular, they always go, oh, curry goat, jerk chicken, pork, and I have my share of people going, oh, Jamaican food, but you don't have any meat, and I'm just like, no. There is all of Rasta, and then still, stop disrespect Rasta,
Yeah, true. Everything
for the longest, right? And so for me, I've always loved vegetables, and I've always loved trying to explore, like building new flavors with the things that we already know, and presenting the things we already know in a new way. And so, because there wasn't really anybody doing that, there weren't that many people. I can't take away from people like Lions Den, can't take away from Fire and Spice. There were few and far in between, but like I'm in Windsor, and there wasn't really anybody doing vegan Caribbean food. And so, like I said, one thing led to the other. Start with the ackee patty. Next thing I know, I had jerk eggplant patty. Then I had curry chickpea patty, and now I have 10 different patties.
That's great. So, are you classically trained, or did you learn everything from your experience?
Myself.
Okay.
And then I went to culinary school in Trinidad. And from there I got a scholarship to Canada. But not classically trained. Like when American chefs talk about classically trained. Yeah. It's like a French culinary school.
Yeah. That's why I asked.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And honestly, had it to do again, like right now, I would have gone to University of YouTube.
$0.99. So you learn a
Free.
whole bunch of
Yeah.
things, and you get to do it on your own
Exactly.
pace. But I'm glad that you did go,
Yeah.
because when you go to school, it's not what you learn in the books, what you learn from other people. the
Correct.
rapport that
And
you
the
get,
connections that you make as well.
Right,
Yes, the
right.
network
So
that you
I
build.
went back to school, and although I knew about writing and knew how to write, because I'm an author, making those connections with those individuals, I wouldn't have never made
Yeah.
those connections.
Exactly.
You know, so
Exactly.
it's a great thing. So I'm glad that your story tells that it was the public that urged you to
Yeah.
start your business.
Yes.
So this is a dream of the people.
Yes.
And this is a great thing, you
Yeah.
know, because the people always say the internet is unstoppable. They are always perfect. They never lose.
The internet never loses.
So
Even
the
when it's
public,
wrong.
the public is always right, and I'm glad for the public for birthing Likkle Patty
Little
Shop.
Patty Shop.
Okay.
Yes.
So out of all of your lines of patties, you said that you had 10.
I have 10.
Which is your favorite? Although Aki is the number one.
Yes.
Which is your favorite one?
My favorite is the eggplant one because
Okay.
it's the spicier of the bunch that I make,
Mm-hmm.
and it to me is reminiscent of like a original beef patty because of the way the texture
Mm-hmm.
the eggplant takes on when you cook it down to the level that we do before
Mm-hmm.
putting it in the patty. But everything has its own place in my heart.
Oh, cool. That's good. So, did you start everything on your own, or do you have other partners that
I've
you
always had a very, very strong support system. When I just started, my husband at the time was very helpful in terms of, kind of pushing me and showing up where he needed to. We're no longer married, but I now have a new partner, and she is very also helpful in terms of what you need and understanding that business ownership takes a lot. And so a lot of time that we would be able to spend together is spent together working.
That's great.
Is spent together working. And so I always, give thanks for my support system because, a lot of the ideas come from me, but the execution of them and the support in all aspects of your life come from your tribe, your community. And so I definitely...
It takes a village.
It takes a village. So even though you mostly see my face, it's a bag of people behind the scenes that's helping to bring everything to fruition.
So with all the recipes and your ideas and your different patties and pastries, are you the
That's
chef?
me. Yeah,
and
that's
everything?
me. That's
you
the
don't
chef.
have a sous
People
chef
give
or
me
anything?
ideas, and like my assistant is fantastic. Once I give her a recipe, she does it. Both of them are great. But it will usually be like, babe, I think you should do this particular thing, or like we'll go somewhere, we'll try something, and it's like you should do a version of this, and then how it becomes the thing. So friends, family, partner, everybody gives the ideas, but then in terms of how it gets executed and what recipe we use to make the vision come through, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that you get no sleep.
No.
'Cause I'm gonna assume
No.
as a creative,
Even when I'm sleeping, the ideas are there.
that's why I said you can't sleep, because
Yeah.
if it's like, oh, I have an idea for
Yes.
this recipe and that recipe. So you said that you have 10.
10
Count them,
patties
10
right
patties.
now.
And you count them on.
Amazing Aki,
Okay.
jerk spice eggplant, curry chickpea and zucchini, super spinach,
Mm-hmm.
baby got brock, calypso, sweet beets,
Mm-hmm.
spicy squash, oh my collie. Who did I forget? And I feel rude. This is the interlude. Lovely lentil. How
Lovely
dare
lentil.
I?
Okay. Lovely lentil I tried.
Yes.
Aki, I've tried.
Amazing.
Amazing aki I tried. I tried the broccoli. And I tried the squash. You
The
have a
squash,
I
yeah.
have
Did you do the curry chickpea and zucchini? I don't have that one today, so I probably shouldn't mention it.
Did I try the curry chickpea? That probably was the first one I tried. But the initial flavor that I get from the amazing aki, it by far, this is my personal opinion, by far it's the best one for me.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of back home. My aunt, God rest her soul, she has a house in St. Catherine in Waterford, right? And we used to watch our pick out the aki on the process, the labor
Yes.
intensive. So when I have certain foods that remind me of my childhood, like soursop. Every time I see soursop, it reminds me of my grandmother. You know, she used to have the bush in front of our yard, and then when we used to go down there, my brother and I, and visit, and that's the first thing I said I wanted. That on chicken buck on ground position, right? So every time I see soursop, it don't matter where I go, it reminds me of my grandma.
Yeah.
My grandma.
Yeah.
You know, so anybody who don't have no Caribbean background, half of your life gone.
My Jamaican grandma, like one of the last food memories I had was, I think by this time we had moved away from St. Elizabeth, so it was more like we were just visiting for the weekend. And breakfast time had already gone, but it was some ackee and saltfish didn't leave over from breakfast. And so it was ackee and saltfish. It had to have been a Sunday because there was rice and peas, there was fried chicken, and a little bit of veg on the side with the ackee and saltfish from breakfast, and then everything mixed together on the plate. Oh my God, so amazing. And also she had like the outside kitchen, you know, the build fire.
Oh, you mean, man.
Yeah, and she used to make bami.
Yeah.
And so to this day, anytime I take, and to be, again, rest her soul, nobody bami don't live up to grandma bami. But like you, the connections that food have to like past memories, that's something I live for. Yeah.
So any of your recipes, is it from grandma, any family recipes?
It's
that
my
you
styling.
stole
So it will
from
be
anyone and say, all right, this is my grandmother,
yeah, it's
this
my,
is my
it's
grandma.
usually my spin on something that I had growing up. Because I started cooking as a child, there came a point where, you know, all along my mom did most of the cooking, but then there came a point where like I started experimenting in the kitchen, and then as such, you know, it changed over to you are now the chef in the house. And so it's so funny because like there are things that I would call my mother for, and like she'll call and be like, she's like, I'm making blah blah blah, you know, how am I do XYZ again? And it's just like, Mom, you can cook.
It's a respect thing.
Yes.
Some Caribbean parents, you know, they will give you the love and affection and affinity, but they're not gonna tell you direct, say you are the person.
Good.
So then the way they do it is they ask you certain questions, and just like you in your mind you say, but you are the one will teach me, but she'll give you big up, she'll big you up every time she asks you. She probably don't really want to know certain things.
Pick me up.
She know certain things, but she just want to ask you because she giving you that.
My mom's a champion. My mom's a champion. My grandfather passed last year, and he also definitely was like my number one taste tester. And you know, oh, when are you coming to visit? Because you know, I can't wait for you to cook. And he would have a laundry list of things. And the man that loved dumpling. Like I make all different kind of dumpling for my grandfather. We're talking about Caribbean boiled dumpling. We're not talking about the dumpling which is similar to a patty with something stuffed inside of it. We just talk about flour and water at the basic, pinch of salt. Where you see the things like hallelujah dumpling, you know, surprise dumpling, where you put something inside. You ever put corned beef inside a dumpling and boil it? And you cut it, surprise! But yeah, family is a huge inspiration in terms of, you know, like dishes that I would have made for my grandfather. And even now, like sometimes when I do something, I kind of hear his voice and say to myself, yeah, if grandfather tasted this in me, he would have loved that one.
It's like guaranteed every time you hang up the phone, him just boast about you to anybody who want to listen. You know something about granddaughter?
Even to my mom, his daughter.
She had to do certain things, she had to do this and that.
Yeah, he hit her with it, you know, you did a good job, but when Chantal make it.
Yes. So you have 10 patties. I see a whole bunch of tastes that you have.
Yes.
Yeah, so could you present one and explain the whole situation and how it comes about?
So we have scones, which people are a huge fan of our scones here. I already trade up some of the scallion and cheese ones, and it is a vegan cheese. I've gone to a vegan expo. It's made from oat milk, and it's very good. That one is combined with scallion and roasted red pepper, because again, I'm always about flavor. It gets a little bit of coarse salt on top, and then it gets finished with garlic butter when it's baked. But the one that I'm going to try up next is our most popular sweet scone, which is guava and orange. You can see the pieces of the guava paste This is something my mom used to make when we
Okay.
went down by Grandma's house.
Okay.
Grandma had a lot of guava trees, and I would remember her just getting basins of guava, and it's so labor intensive. But you can get guava paste to buy now because I'm not doing all that work.
Right. You never have to tell people say you're not doing all that.
Me not
She
do-
is doing the work. She's going in,
Let me
picking
tell-
and peeling.
You hear about $1 million menu?
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to do all of that, these scones would be $1 million. I'm just kidding. But
That's why caviar is so expensive.
Exactly.
Because it's labor intensive. So you're not really paying for the actual finished product. You're paying for the process. And that's what I love as a creative. I love the process. You know, I like seeing people work. Because my mom, she was a caterer back in the days, and I used to go to work with her, and I used to just love to watch her work. You know, because she would be in her element, and she's singing and she humming, and she's the most peaceful human being on the planet. And when she presents her works, it's like
sense of pride.
You know, and each bite is like, you're not just tasting whatever she made, you're tasting a part of her. You know, some people then say, "Oh boy, you put your foot in that." Same thing. You know, it's like
Jumping on the pot.
Yeah.
So these are our orange and guava scones. And then, so there's like orange zest in the dough as well, and then there's pieces of guava that kind of become melty as it bakes, and then it gets finished with an orange glaze. So this is one of the most popular ones that we make. So this is, I'm just traying everything up, and then I put it to the side, and then when the oven is ready, I will tray up that. So of the patties that we make today, I have 3 here. I have a few more in the back that I'll probably set up later, but for now, I'm going to set up the squash, and then I'm going to set the spinach. Now, that went by fast.
I love how the newer, I'm aging myself, how the newer patties look. You
I
know,
was
'cause
going,
back
that's the next
in
thing I
the
wanted
day,
to touch
my
on.
thing, I'm from the Bronx, born and raised in the Bronx, and the major patties that they had was beef and chicken. That's it. And then after, towards the 90s, it was bully beef that
Really?
they came up
Okay.
with, right? After that, then now you have different flavors. You know, they had curry shrimp on all these things, and whatever patty comes out, they change the dough. So is this something that your culinary background prompted you to create, or you just woke up one day and say, "Eureka! I have to make the patty presentable like this"?
So 2 things happened. I grew up in, like I said, in Jamaica, and you know, usually all the patties are the same shape, same color, and there's an ink dot that differentiates. This is a callaloo patty, this is a beef patty, so on and so forth. I have had one too many times ordering a certain patty and leaving the patty shop,
And you get something else.
bite into it to at that point realize this is not one beef patty. And so I said, never are we ever going to confuse what is inside the patty, and therefore making them different colors and making them different shapes was what I came up with. So this shape is actually a pasty shape, and in the history of the patty is that's something they make in England,
Yes.
right? So there's a little something in there, like, so this is its great granddaddy of the patty. And so I was like, all right, bet that's gonna be one shape. The regular crescent shape, which we know everybody go, okay, patty, this is the shape they expect, and then this is the shape they expect. I don't have the square one right here, but in the square one was Devon House, because that also, again, like a intense food memory for me, is the first time going on a field trip to Devon House in prep school and getting a curry chicken patty. And that curry chicken, it had potato in it, like not just little piece of potato, like chunks of potato, just flaky and beautiful. And yes, Devon House still makes their patties square, but Devon House in Jamaica right now is actually owned by Mother's, so it's not the same. It's still delicious, but it's not the same like back in 1990 whatever. I was having that experience of like a really super flaky crust and this wonderful filling. So yeah, that's really the reason. It's just so when I look at that, I know that that's squash, I know that that's broccoli, and there will be no confusion between, was that an orange dot or was it a green dot? Did I give them the right one or no?
So this shape reminds me of seafood. It reminds me of the Caribbean.
Okay.
So when I see this,
Yeah.
I see home. You
Oh, I
with the
love
different
that.
colors. I wish you had a red so we can put that in there and it'll be all
All the
festive.
colors, yes.
Right? So one thing you did mention, the pasty, right?
Right,
And
yes.
that is the progenitor of the patty. So
Correct.
the English brought a lot of their
Foods to the
traditions
Caribbean.
when they came down to the Caribbean, and they had a lot of intentions, not to be named, but putting the elements inside one handheld piece of food was the thing for people on the go, working
Yes.
people on the go. Instead of having a knife and a fork to cut into something, you put everything in the dough and you just eat it with one hand and you can go about your business. You know, it's kind of like the hamburger where they say
a sandwich, yeah.
the origins of the hamburger was some workers saying that could you make something with the leftover cuts of meat, and the butcher did his thing and made the hamburger, and that's the birth of the hamburger. So out of all of the shapes that you have, which is the one that every time you make it, you're like, I outdid myself with this shape?
You know the Devon House one? It's because it's so simple, but it's tricky. But like once you get a good flow going and you're just making them, you're in a rhythm. And then of course the crimping at the end, for me, it's like it's the one that you spend the most time on. So I feel like it's the one that we're most intentional about. Yeah.
Okay, with Devon House now, I remember going to Jamaica 2 years ago. In Devon House, they make ice cream as well. Yes, right. So Devon House, the ice cream is like a festive thing. When you mention Devon House, it's synonymous with ice cream.
Yeah.
So what is your fondest memory of going to Devon House and getting
Ice cream? One of my best friends and I went to Devon House. I was telling this story recently. We were in Jamaica, that's a batty and bench, like see one without the other. And we went to Devon House to stay. I am a coconut, coffee, or Devon Stout girl. And I'm not indecisive, like I'll try anything. And when I tell you, said this particular day she had gotten her heart set on pistachio ice cream, and they did not have any. When I said this, my girl sit down across the counter like this, like, and they don't have no pistachio. I was like, if you don't make a decision, so we can hurry up and come outside.
Because
the
the line
store.
long.
The line.
Yeah.
The amount of people that come and went in front of us.
Got
I
some
got my
people
ice
close
cream.
you, people close
Yeah,
you.
we get I finished my ice cream, and I don't even know if she made up her mind. To this day, I cannot remember. But I love Devon House. The only thing I ding Devon House on is I would love to see a Aki ice cream. I would love to see a breadfruit ice cream.
Yeah, you know,
Cassava ice
they,
cream.
I have a cousin and she lives in Portmore, and she has a sweet sack custard that she does certain times. She'll get the sweet sack
Right,
and she
right.
let it overripe on a counter, and then she scoop out the innards,
Yes.
and then she do her magic and put it in the freezer, and that is a family thing.
Right.
So, do you find yourself, would you consider in the future branching and doing those kind of ice cream?
Absolutely.
You said
Yeah,
that you love
absolutely.
the Aki ice cream
Yeah.
and those kind of things.
Yeah, I
because
did Aki ice cream last year, and I did it just so people could try it. So we did a little sampling in the store, and I got people's feedback and their reactions. Because people don't expect it, but yeah, it's another license. No. Yes, it's everything in
everything is
Connecticut is a
red tape.
license.
Everything is red tape.
Yes, I have 3 licenses for my kitchen, for the one kitchen. I have 1 license for the patty, another license for the cookies, another license for the drinks. So if I wanted the frozen desserts, it's another license for that. So I have 4 licenses for one kitchen.
Wow. So you mentioned 10 patties. How many pastries do you have?
We have about 4 different scones: guava orange, cinnamon raisin, ginger chai, the scallion scone. I do a mango scone with passion fruit glaze. Cookies, chocolate chip cookies, double chocolate cherry, toasted pecan banana, coconut cookie, the dark chocolate cookie. We had pineapple upside down cake this week. Our carrot cake is legendary. I said so myself. Come try it. Have to make some more. Not me saying things and then not having it in the store. But yeah, a bunch of different things, and like I'm always coming up with different ideas. It's a bit challenging right now because, as I had mentioned when we were talking before, in terms of staffing, I'm taking on a lot of the work myself to try and keep costs down for right now. And once I get to a position where I can hire more people, that puts me back in the creative seat to be able to come up with the ideas and to just kind of bring some of those ideas I've had floating around in the back of my mind to fruition. So, yeah.
So
we have enough things right now and more things that come.
So how long does it take from concept to actually making one of your products?
So it depends on the thing. So most recipes are a ratio. And so, it depends on the idea that you have. So if it's an idea that's basically made up of other sub-recipes, then that's easier, right? So like if somebody's like, oh, it would be cool if you had carrot cake with XYZ, that's a lot easier versus somebody saying, I wonder what making cake out of purple sweet potato would be like. Because with the purple sweet potato, it's a different texture. And so now we have to try and do some experiments to be like, okay, are we going to boil the sweet potato? Are we going to roast the sweet potato? Are we going to grate it raw? And then testing each of those things to see which of them works. So it could be as simple as a couple of days where it's something that is built off of something I'm already doing, or it could be a couple of weeks if it's a challenge where we're like, okay, I'm just not getting the texture right. Because for me, anything I make, it has to taste good, and not taste good for being vegan. It has to taste good, full stop. So if you're tasting it, I don't want to be like, yeah, this is good for being vegan. No.
And then when you turn your body, you gotta go.
Exactly. No. Anything we're making here, you're supposed to be like, you sure it's not vegan? Because like, simple example, or chocolate chip cookie. People are like, this is not vegan. I'm like, this is vegan. I'm like, yep, there's no butter, there's no eggs. It's chewy, it's delicious. It starts with buying good quality ingredients. And so we start there, and then we just add care and love.
Love, that's the element. That's one thing a lot of people, some people, they just want more food, and it has to be a labor of love. So if you don't have any taste testers, I volunteer to be a taste tester in your product. So that segues me to my next question. Do you have a group of people to test out your product before it goes out on the market?
That's the benefit of being in the inner circle. So like all the people that I mentioned that are in my tribe, whenever I have something new, I'll say, hey, where you at? And I'll drop off a little something.
Okay.
And then we'll get a feedback text. A lot of the people that are in my tribe are fellow like farmers market vendors who, over the years we've worked together at different markets. And it's especially easier for people that live in Windsor, because I'm in the area, to just kind of drop something off. Or what we do sometimes, I'll do like a batch of something, and then we'll just have like people guess on the internet, and then we'll just like give away, or like, here's something we're working on, the first 5 people to blah blah blah, come pick it up at the shop, let us know what you think.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Again, the public is they get a pat on the back, a gift for supporting you in your culinary creativity, right? So how long was it from concept of Likkle Patty Shop to actually having brick and mortar location?
Ooh. So, as I mentioned earlier, this all started with Amazing Aki, which was the blog. And so then Amazing Aki became...
So that was the name of the blog?
Yeah.
Do you still do that blog?
I don't add recipes as frequently, but it's still up. So if you want recipes, it's there.
Okay.
AmazingAki.com. So Amazing Aki then became a pop-up at farmers markets. And I was working out of Hands on Hartford, which is a shared kitchen space in Hartford. And that's how I started the business. And so I was going by Amazing Aki at farmers markets. But then I had wanted to move from Hands on Hartford into my own kitchen space, which I was able to do 2020. But all we know about 2020, COVID starts.
COVID. Moms, sorry we don't have any masks on today, but you wouldn't have heard us if we had masks on. So, sorry.
So COVID
Let's pretend we have on masks.
So COVID came, but COVID was actually good to us because people, really turned to supporting their local farmers markets. And so we were still able to continue the business throughout COVID. And then because of COVID, so like my initial goal had been get your own kitchen and then get a food truck because I wanted to be able to do more events. However, most of the events, like the large events, went away because of COVID in terms of the restrictions in numbers. And so then I said, all right, cool, I'm guessing a storefront makes more sense as the next step. And then this space became available. I live in Windsor. The space is in Windsor. I had actually looked at this space before I got my kitchen in Manchester, but it was too small for production. It's not too small for just baking, because basically this is the farmer's market. This is the tent. This is how we would have set up the tent at the market. But we just have a permanent location. And so did that, and the rest is kind of history. The reason I call it Likkle Patty Shop is Amazing Aki doesn't tell people what we make. Whereas, you know, you see the word Likkle. If you know a little thing or two, then you know, so Likkle is Jamaican patois for the word little. And yeah, so I just call it Likkle Patty Shop so people would know that we sell patties here.
So, this is a vegan pastry patty shop, right? So, you have a lot of people who are carnivorous and they are less inclined to try vegan options. Do you find that is difficult to get people to try an alternative way of eating, or is your clientele strictly vegetarians prior to coming to your shop?
I think most of our clientele actually isn't vegan or vegetarian. They like good food. I think the line that's difficult to cross is people who aren't adventurous regardless. Yeah, we do have some people who are like, oh, but how does that taste? I think for me, because I love trying new food, I take it for granted that some people are like very set in their ways, and it's a bit scary to like step out and try something different. And so for the most part, we tell people, you know, you try it once. If you like it, fantastic. If you don't like it, you know, that's fine, and that's life. You know, but you're likely not going to be disappointed unless it's like a particular ingredient that you don't like. Like if you don't like spinach, you're probably not going to like a spinach patty no matter what, right? But yeah, I definitely have, like I said, the people who are just like, but vegan, and the word vegan itself, I know gets a bad rap, and that's usually because of an experience somebody has had with someone who says that they're vegan. Because we eat vegan food all the time. Rice is vegan. Most single plant-based ingredients that make up the foods that you cook on their own are vegan. So rice and peas is vegan, right? Callaloo is vegan. You eat it. It's just the word where people go, no. In Jamaica, Rastafarians would say ital. But if I said ital here, no one would know what we're talking about. They'd be like, is that short for Italian? No. So, you know, we're in America, so we're going to use the language that people understand. So
as in Rome.
Vegan, yeah.
So we are trying your signature patty,
Amazing Aki.
the Amazing Aki. Amazing. So my question for you is, after my own heart. Likkle Patty Shop. This is something that you do exclusively. You don't have a day job or anything.
Oh,
like
this
that.
is the job.
This is
the job. Yes. This
So
is the job.
again, when you people do things, you plunge all the way in.
Yes.
Head
Yes.
first.
There came a point where I had to choose taking the risk on myself, because I couldn't continue to. Because I mean, I work in restaurants; it's very demanding. So if I was going to do all that work, it was to take the risk to do all that work for myself. And I know that I'm an excellent employee. I didn't know whether I was an excellent business owner until I gave that a try. I always knew that regardless of how this works out, I can always go back to being an excellent employee if needs be. Yeah.
Love it.
This has about 3 to 5 more minutes before it's ready for the oven. This is the cocoa bread. I'm waiting for them to. You see how this one is nicely puffed up, for the ones in the center to puff up as well. The ones on the edge move a little bit faster because of course they're getting the heat from the outside, and the ones in the middle sometimes need just a little bit more coaxing.
So this one is this an oven or?
This is a warmer and proofer.
Okay.
Yeah. Get brushed with garlic butter once they're out of the oven. Very generous with the flavor. And that's all she wrote for that. This is gonna get set aside for the garlic cocoa bread that we're going to bake.
And this is the garlic cocoa bread.
Yes.
Okay, so your little patties here. This is fresh out the oven. Is there any other location that you have that offers these things?
At the moment, we sell to a vegan restaurant in Massachusetts called Pulse. They're in Hadley. So they sell them like this, but that's it for right now. We've really been very busy, and it's been tough trying to keep up with production, stocking the shop as well as supplying them, because they probably sell more than we do out of our location. So once we get the formula unlocked in terms of just like a steady rotation of this is what we do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we have that unlocked and we're able to increase our capacity, at that point we'll take on some more wholesale clients.
Okay, that's good. So in the event that happens, what would be the process of coming and saying, okay, I have this location, I want to offer and display and sell your product in our shop?
Email, and we'll send you the wholesale kit.
Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned pop-up shops. Do you still go out in the public and go to different farmers markets and set up and, do your thing?
We do a few. But right for last year, it was the first year of having the shop open, so I really wanted to focus on figuring out staffing in the shop first. This year we're hoping to be able to do a little bit more, but of course that is going to depend on foot traffic, staffing, and that kind of thing. We're definitely carving out space to do like the bigger ones, so Veg Fest, Compassion Fest, those types of events, but some of our smaller farmers markets we might have to sacrifice.
Okay, so do you, the owner of Likkle Patty Shop, go to each of these events,
Yes.
or do you have other people come in your stead?
I go and I have like some of my original assistants come with me when we do the Veg Fest, but for the most part it's me there.
10 times out of 10, people, if you have a product, they don't really buy your product, they buy the creator, so they want to see you there, and they say, let me see the one such and such, man, the noir. Anytime I come by, just tell her I sent you to the place. So you have a display of things here, displaying each of the products here. This one here is this beautiful one here.
So Devon House is shape inspired. That's the Oh My Collie. And then next to that, to the right, we have Baby Got Brock. That's spinach powder and turmeric for the color. And then we have the OG Amazing Aki, turmeric and annatto for the color. Soursop Blush, which is a blend of soursop sweetened with rose. There's ginger juice in there and lemon juice as well. I love that drink, especially in the summer. If you don't drink, you mix it with a little salsa and a little, put a little lemon on the edge, and you can look fancy and whatever, some fresh fruits in there. If you do drink, we love it with gin. Absolutely delicious. And then on the savory side, where else are you going to get garlic cocoa bread? You can't answer the question. Garlic cocoa bread, and then our savory scone, that's the one with the cheese, the scallion, and the roasted red pepper and quail. And then it gets brushed with garlic butter. It has a little coarse salt on top. Absolutely delicious. Or fan favorite, guava and orange scone. Then we have the chocolate chip cookie, double chocolate cherry cookie, toasted pecan banana cookie, which is my favorite, and then the trail mix cookie, which also has a little bit of sea salt on top, so it's like a granola, has raisins and cranberries, and just the sweetness is offset by the little salt.
So with the banana, is it the world's banana, the long bananas, the traditional bananas that you see in the supermarket, or is it the small fingerling bananas?
They are the world's bananas, and they're dried banana chips. And we use a banana compound, which is a really intense banana flavor. So it's actually a banana flavored cookie with pecans and banana chips as well. Okay. So I give you the floor, and you tell the people where they can get your products and where they can find you online. Any words of wisdom that you have, you just give it to the people. Okay, to the people, hello, it's me, Chantal Tafari. I'm the owner of Likkle Patty Shop, and we're located at 80 Poquonnock Avenue in Windsor, Connecticut. We're open from Tuesday to Sunday from 11:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. with the exception of Saturday, when we're open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So a little longer on Saturday. We're all over social media at Likkle Patty Shop, and our website is likklepattyshop.com. Advice? Don't do it, I'm just kidding. The advice is make sure that you have a solid support system, and a support system doesn't necessarily have to be a family. It can be like one really good friend, but they're going to come times when you're questioning why you're doing things in the first place, and you need to have like that solid person or persons who you can go to and say, yo, this is how I'm feeling right now, and that person has your back and they're able to lift you back up and to help you keep going. That's it.
All right. And on that note, my name is James Dale, and we are here with Chantal Tafari, owner, creator, chef, sous chef,
Head
everything,
chef,
director, everything, right?
Floor
and I want
sweeper, all of it.
everything, you know, and I like that, you know, when you owners out there want to do something, you have to go in every aspect of your business. So when it kicks off now in your franchise, I'm putting it out in the ether, when you franchise, right? I'm just going to say it again, when you franchise, right? You can come around and you can look in the parking lot and say, this is my baby. I remember I used to do this, that, and the third, right? So when you do something, everything is labor intensive. Do not get discouraged when the money don't roll in at once, because you got overhead costs, right? So you have to, anything that you do, you have to make sure you love it. And if you don't love it, it's not going to come through fruition. You know, the old adage is, you do what you love until you get paid for it, right? So again, my name is James Dale, and this is another episode of Creators Corner, and I thank you.
You're most welcome. Thank you for coming through and highlighting.
And anybody who's in the Windsor area, you come through and come to
Likkle
Potty Shop and get your potty.
Avenue.
Right, 80 Pocahontas Avenue in Windsor, Connecticut, and we'll see you there.